Good afternoon. How are we all doing? How are we, Church? Joroge? Looked it up. Afternoon, George. How are we doing? Where's everybody? There's only 10 people here. Afternoon, Virginia. Very quiet today. Markets are really quiet today. Boring. My God. No ADRs today. Nothing's hit its weekly range today. RSIs are pretty flat. New Zealand CAD, New Zealand US are the only two things that are starting to look like they want to move somewhere. But yeah, very, very quiet. It's good, isn't it? I had to look at the video again. So, this afternoon we're going to trade the New York Open. Markets were pretty dire this morning for DAX and FTSE. Had a hedge on the DAX, which I'm out of with a little bit of profit, £150. I've currently got £250 in drawdown on the FTSE trade, but long only now out of the shorts. So hoping we just get a little push up before the open so I can exit that pre-market. But yeah, really, really rotational. This is the third day on the trot. We've had a rotational day. So Friday, yesterday, today, market very much in contraction and rotation at the moment, not wanting to go anywhere. So kind of have to try and get out of stuff quick at the moment and just take whatever the market can give you, because it's unlikely we're going to get any violent breaks. So just want to keep an eye on that one. See if I can get it back to break even before the open. Doesn't need much of a push. So very, very quiet at the minute. Afternoon, Themba. We've had some news today. So we had the Australian wage price index this morning, which came out slightly negative. If you look at the Aussie pairs, didn't do anything. So nothing happened there. Claimant count change this morning came out at 135. I've just noticed, for some reason, I don't know why, the unemployment rate for the pound is down as a yellow news. That's 4.2. I'm not quite sure why that is yellow. But it is for some reason. I don't know if that's a bug or what. Anyway, so unemployment came down in the UK. I guess you can look at the claimant count change. No, it doesn't add up, does it? Anyway, yeah, we had that this morning as well. Pound wise, we had a little bit of movement off of it, but it's all retraced. So that was the news. It was back where it started within an hour. Gone absolutely nowhere. The pound today, as you can see, flat as a pancake. Just get rid of that yellow. So this afternoon, we've just had 1:30. We had the PPI figures. All came out negative. So we were looking at a 0.1% drop on the core PPI. We actually got a 0.3. We were looking at a same as last time on the main PPI figure. We got a 0.1. So all negative US. And as you can see from the US dollar, didn't do anything. So we had a little bit of movement on the US, but nothing. So the market is just dead at the moment, absolutely dead. There's nothing you can do with it, basically. M5 scalp highs and lows. If you can get to them, you had that this morning off the back of the news. But trying to even get to yesterday's highs and lows at the moment is just hard work. So nothing we can do really. Just got to sit here. It's summer trading. You get it like this. Thanks for the follow, Frank. Welcome aboard. So that's it today. There's no more news. We'll obviously see what we get at the open. I don't want this to go into drawdown, basically. So I might just close this out Then we got 10 minutes. I'll give it 10 minutes. I'll give it the pre-market, and then I'll decide what to do with it. So that's today's news. Nothing else exciting happened there. Traders add bets on Fed easing. Not much more than they already know, which is a lot before the end of the year. There's your PPI numbers. Prior to that, over the news this morning, some oil inventory news came out, which hasn't affected anything. And there's your unemployment rate for the UK this morning. So dead as a door now. Literally nothing. PPI year on year dropped in Japan. Again, they've said they're not going to increase their interest rates. So that's just confirming what we already knew. So yeah, dead. It's just dead. There's very little you can do with this type of market, but sit here and wait. So we'll see what happens at the open. I'm not going to go through all the FX pairs. We went through all the FX pairs yesterday. As you can see, we haven't gone anywhere. So that was yesterday's range. That was the previous day's range. And that is today's range so far. Nothing much you can do with anything, is there? So we'll see what happens at New York. We might get some weakness coming into the US at the open, which means we might get a bullish run on the indices. As you can see, since the PPI numbers, pound is rallying against the US. Euro is also rallying against the US quite nicely, actually, at the moment. That's coming up into a monthly high as well. That's last month's high. So it's just retesting that area again. So it looks like it'll get through there. So it looks like the US is reacting weakly slightly to that news. It's probably Euro's strength, actually. You can't really tell what it is. It's just nothing moving, is it? It's just dead. Afternoon, Themba. Yusuf, Champagne, how are we doing? Gregors, afternoon. So we'll watch the open. If there's any FX pairs you want to look at specifically, let me know. I'm happy to go through them. Before I came on the stream, I had a quick look through to see if there's any decent support resistance trades. Because I've got no exposure on at the moment. I'm flat. Totally flat. Because nothing's moving. So I can't get into anything if nothing's going anywhere. So I did have a quick whiz through before I came on to see if there was any support resistance to potentially take a trade at, but we just haven't got anywhere. I'm not interested in daily highs and lows because you've got to trade them on the 5-minute chart, and I don't want to start a position on the 5-minute time frame. I'd rather wait till we get to something that looks like support or resistance. But this after yesterday's price action and what we got on Friday, there's just nothing getting anywhere. So the yens, look at the yens, 5 days, totally sideways. Just, it literally is a flat line. We are dead. So very difficult to get into anything. I'll have a look. Euro New Zealand as a possibility there. Might be worth a go. Euro's bearish though, New Zealand's bullish. I don't really want to go long on it. Just nothing to do, is it? David, good day, Lee the Great. You're the best. Thank you. $20. Thank you very much. That's very much appreciated, David. Let's celebrate their 20th super on a live stream. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. There you go. I've made some profit this month. That's probably the only place I'm going to get it from. It's just dead, isn't it? What can we do? What can we do? Should we play something? I don't know. Might have a game of Destiny. What about New Zealand CAD? We'll look at New Zealand CAD. Why does the buy line show buy limit after taking the buy trades? I did this morning with the FTSE. Why does the buy line show buy limit? Are you talking about the stock index hedge? The only reason you would get a buy limit showing is if price was above the level that it was entering a price at by the time the EA got round to entering it. So every now and again with the ORB and the SIH strategy, if let's say the market's done that and it's there as the open happens, sometimes you get such a big spike very, very quickly at the open. By the time the EA has gone through the calculations, triggered and placed the orders, price is above it. So obviously it places the order. It's not a stop order now, it's a limit order. That's the only reason you'd get that. So it means basically the EA has triggered the order after price has exceeded the level, because obviously we normally place it as a stop order. That's why. New Zealand CAD. Just going to get out of that FTSE then. 4 minutes. I'm looking for a bull candle on that. New Zealand CAD New Zealand CAD is the most extended we've got at the moment. So on the hourly RSI, we're above the 70 level. We've just broken out that double weekly high. So you had a weekly high there, which double topped last week. It hit it again last week. So it's a triple top breakout. It will come back down and retest this level probably somewhere out of here. So if we got an ADR reversal on that today, I would consider taking that as a short. The problem is the bias is wrong. New Zealand is a long, CAD is a short at the moment. CAD's going to get dragged down by the US dollar. We've had weak PPI numbers today. Canadian is reducing interest rates at the moment as well. New Zealand cannot reduce interest rates, and there is talk of a potential quarter-point hike. So the only way this should really go long-term is up. So anything you take short is going to be fighting the fundamental trend. But anywhere in here, probably a good place to short it. But with that news we've had today, I mean, the trouble is it's moved a little bit. You got a little bit of an RSI extension. So we're basically on the back of a 2-day push. If it got above the 80 level, I might think about it. Or if it got an ADR hit. So if we got a 125 ADR today, somewhere up here, I might be interested in a short-term trade on it, but half an ADR maybe. I'm not really interested any more than that. That's the only thing that's extended at the minute. So you get FTSE's pulled back. RSI strategy. Are you still running hourly or 4-hour? Still using the 14 RSI or something else at the moment? So with the RSI strategy, basically I switched the EA over to run 4-hour for the moment, and RSI 10. So there's no RSI 10 and RSI 14, as you'll see here, are very similar. So you get I would have had a signal there on RSI 10, and I'd have had a signal there on RSI 14. Just about. So the RSI 10 gives you slightly faster signals. So it doesn't really matter which you use. I'm just looking for basically something that is going to get extended above the 80-20 level. So I'm looking for strong pushes at the moment. Just want to reduce risk slightly and have less chance of getting in. So the EA is running on the 15-minute time frame on the VPS, and I'm using 4-hour RSI. So I've switched back to H4M15 basically for the moment. It's summer trading, so this August is always going to be quiet usually. But what happens also in August sometimes is you get a lot of slippage. So obviously any oscillators, any moving averages are going to be skewed by slippage during these sorts of times. We haven't had much so far, but doesn't mean it's not going to happen. Okay, so the market's open. Let me just have a quick look where we are on the US indices. No pre-market on the NASDAQ. Long on the Dow, no pre-market on the S&P. Ranges are too tight, funnily enough. Nothing's moving, so the ranges are very tight this morning, but I am long on the Dow. A little bit worried about whipsaw today. I'd like to see it all push along so I can get out the FTSE, but we'll see. Yeah, RSI 10 is good on the 4 hour. I've done quite a lot of testing on RSI 10 and RSI 14. As I said, when I came back from holiday, I revisited all of my research that I did when I was putting together the position trading bootcamp. And I settled on the RSI 14, not because it's the best, because it was okay. Sometimes RSI 21's better, sometimes the lower number's better. But RSI 14 was kind of the happy place where it was a good level to use at the time. It still is. But having rerun all the research and retested, and I basically tested 5, 10, 15, and 20. 14 is kind of the default, which is why I used it. But, you know, the difference between 15 and 14 is nothing from a signal perspective anyway. So the RSI 10 basically, yeah, I've decided to go with it because it, on the higher time frame on H4, it still needs a decent push and a decent stretch. That elastic band theory, we need that stretched movement in the market. But by using the 80-20 instead of the 70-30, you get a few more signals on the 10 than you do on the 14. Yeah, the 14 would usually signal anyway. The 10 gets you in slightly earlier. But I was using 70-30 on the 14, which is a little bit too aggressive, I think, for this particular market. But saying that, nothing's really moving at the moment, so it doesn't really matter what you use. Let me just quickly check the FTSE. There we go. I'm just going to close my FTSE trades out at break even. So I'm out of those. There you go, flat FTSE, so £8 loss on that one, 152 on the DAX this morning. So up overall on the day. Concentrate on the US market now. So Dow is coming up to retest the double top this week from Monday and Friday, which is that monthly level. So my target at the moment on a 3R has got to break that. So I need to be a little bit cautious with this Dow this morning because it's literally breaking straight into monthly and weekly resistance and yesterday's high. Although the FTSE and the Nasdaq are screaming away. I'll have a look at those FX pairs in a minute. Euro New Zealand and New Zealand US. Afternoon, Mimo, Abdi. So we're just coming up 30 seconds to the 5-minute opening range. So that opening range on the Dow is that big. It's big, big, big opening range today. There's the S&P and the Nasdaq. So S&P and the Nasdaq definitely long. The market trying to break long this afternoon. A lot of volatility in the Dow, look. Really jumping around a lot, the Dow today. Afternoon, there's a lot of S's in your name, isn't there? Right, so S&P range too small. It's just about 10%. So I'm just trading Nasdaq and Dow this afternoon. So see if we can get a break on the Nas. While we're waiting for that, we'll have a look at the FX pairs. Pound CAD's running up towards ADR. We might get a move on that. But it looks to me like the, yes, it's definitely US dollar weakness we're seeing here. So the market is selling off the US a little bit on the back of the PPI numbers. So New Zealand dollar, US dollar coming up into resistance. So this whole area here is resistance. So this propulsion gap basically is potential upside resistance. If we're going to continue the bear move, which there's no reason we should, but at the moment this is bearish, but obviously we've got a double bottom and a double top in play at the moment, so it's basically going into a range. So New Zealand bullish, US definitely bearish now, so I'll be looking much more for a move to the upside than the downside on this. So again, it's a short, potentially the same as the New Zealand dollar CAD, so both of these extended on RSI at the moment, but you are fighting fundamental trend on this because US dollar is going to weaken, especially off the back of that PPI figure. Rest of the news this week for the US dollar, we've got CPI tomorrow afternoon, which is the big one. So if that comes out as a negative, bear in mind we've just had the PPI numbers coming out negative. PPI is producer price index, which feeds into the consumer price index, which feeds into interest rates. So that being negative would say there's a good chance that CPI has dropped as well. If that drops tomorrow, we're going to get further weakness in the US, which means New Zealand CAD and New Zealand US will continue to rally. So just be careful if you're trying to short against the US dollar at the moment, because it is likely to be weak. But that's it's the only thing setting up at the moment. This is why I want it really extended, yeah? So if I'm going to take a trade, I want to make sure it's really gone for it. I want to see like a good few days worth of bull or bear action. So the market really getting stretched and extended on it. And then I'm happy to get in. So I want to see, you know, RSIs on the hourly definitely got to be above the 80 level, but I'm not really interested in the hourly at the moment. I'm interested in the 4 hourly. So 4 hourlies, I want up there as well. There was an extension there, and then you had that big news spike down, which would have been an exit into the lows. You had an extension there, which would have got you on that move, although I wouldn't have got that move. I'd have got that move maybe. No, I probably would have got out there, in all honesty. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be a little bit more bullish. Euro New Zealand. So bias on this one is bearish. Euro dropping interest rates, New Zealand potentially increasing or freezing. So we're looking for downward momentum on this one. We tested that high. Then we had that weird move on Monday last week where the market just went 300 ADR for no reason and obviously undid that. So I'll be looking for a push back down to retest the lows. We're range bound. New Zealand dollar stronger than the euro from a long-term fundamental perspective. So be looking more for shorts than longs on this. ADR hits to the upside. Just had the reverse alert on this one as well. Bit of a messy reversal. So that was the last bear action before that rally. So we've just basically broken the low of that last bear attempt. So there's your reversal. So the bear's back in control of the market. So you'd be looking for some kind of pullback. It's either going to sort of drop down and come back up and retest, or it's probably just going to break, retest this propulsion more likely, and then short from there. We haven't got any euro news coming out. Oh, we've got the New Zealand dollar rates tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, euro New Zealand will go one way or the other. The New Zealand dollar is reacting ridiculously to all its news at the moment. Doesn't matter what it is, it goes nuts. Yeah, so every time you get a news event on the New Zealand dollar, it just takes off for no reason whatsoever. That was the last interest rate change we had, 10th of July. So 10th of July, New Zealand dollar didn't change their interest rate. It went on a rally for 2 weeks. Absolutely no reason for it. New Zealand dollar weakened dramatically off the back of not changing interest rates and announcing that they might have to keep them there for quite a long time, probably into next year, and possibly push it up one if it gets worse. Yet the whole thing collapsed. It's absolutely nonsensical. And like I said, you know, it wasn't as if the market rallied into or dumped before the move. They were just sitting around doing nothing for a month before that news event came out. So tomorrow, you could find yourself up. You're not going to find yourself up there. 300 ADR might do. Unlikely, but you may well find yourself back up here tomorrow, retesting that area. Or on your way down there, but I look at shorts out of that, definitely. Anywhere out of there. Inside bar on the Nasdaq, no movement. Dow, nice break long. So Dow coming up into last month's high, which is this blue line here. That's 1R. We've got to break last month's high, yesterday's high, and last week's high to get through that level. There are going to be limit orders sitting at all three of those levels, ready to sell off. So it's going to take a hell of a move to get through there. Nasdaq just sitting around doing nothing. I really don't feel like I want to trade this today because after the DAX and yesterday's DAX and FTSE price action was shocking. It hardly moved. This morning we went into rotation on both of those. Yeah, so this morning's price action on the DAX and the FTSE. There's your open. So again, we're in rotation, same as before. I just get the feeling the US markets are going to try and do the same thing today. There's no reason for them to dump or pump on this at all. I just don't want to get stuck in a hedge again. But we'll see. Give it the benefit of the doubt. But I mean, that level has been tested now quite a few times. The third knock on the door might get through. We will see. Afternoon. You could just say Cebu, okay? I won't remember that, but I will try. So I closed those buy limits when I saw price retracing. Was that the right thing to do? Because I figured EA was going to enter more buy trades if it hit. Yeah, if up to you. Basically, if you get above the price and sorry, one sec. Some idiot trying to spam people with some scam version of TradingView in Telegram, as usual. Can't be bothered to send them a nasty message. So yeah, if you're above the price and obviously it places those limit orders, there is a good chance, in this case, for example, if it happened, it's going to retest and run. There's also a chance it will just be a false breakout and collapse. Whether to delete those orders or not, it's personal preference. But the whole point of the strategy of ORB is you're using the momentum at the open to make money. So if the momentum at the open fails, it's not the strategy. We're really struggling on the Dow up here. So we are running into an iceberg at those levels at the moment. I want to see a good pop. I know what we should do. We haven't done for ages. Put tick strike on. Bulls in control. There we go. So if we keep hearing this ticking and price doesn't get anywhere, it means they're absorbing all the buy orders, which means that the market's likely to retrace. But it seems to not be doing a bad job. So we're just coming up to retest high of last week, which is Friday's high off the news spike. There's yesterday's high gone. Excuse me. Closing 1.5 hour. Just no point in risking it. If the limit orders are going to trigger up here, I'd rather have half the trade in the bank Second half of my position is way up at ADR. So if we get this breakout today, and there's a good chance because obviously we've got a weak US dollar, so the indices do the opposite to the US. The US is dropping, so there is a good chance that we'll get a decent break on this today if there's enough in the market. But they are running into some orders there. Here we go, another rally. NASDAQ long. Okay, so we're just running into any limit orders that are placed at the high of the week, last week, which it looks like are triggering, which means potentially I might get hedged to the NASDAQ, which would be lovely. We'll see. If we can get through there, we're going to pop today, I think. Okay, so we US dollar still weak. Nice rally against the US. Which prop firm did you use to trade when you were still trading the opening range breakout strategy? I was trading with E8 and obviously my Forex funds before they went pop. So yeah, E8 mainly. And I also started trading futures on Take Profit Trader, because you can trade the ORB obviously on the futures market as well. You can't trade SIH because obviously you can't hedge, but you can trade the ORB strategy and obviously flip and reverse on it. Okay, US dollar's powering up a little bit. We're probably going to pull back on the indices. So that is also the monthly high on the S&P. Or is it? Here come the bears. There you go. So there's that monthly level on the S&P. Which is the low of last month. So we hit that, double bottomed it, hit it again, then we broke it. So we're just retesting that. So this is a strong resistance. Potentially, if we're going to continue this downward leg, this is where we could start from. So just want to watch this NASDAQ because might get stuck here. So it's gone totally quiet. So there's no volume anymore. So buyers were buying into that iceberg there. And obviously we've just hit a brick wall. So we've run out of buyers, but there is no selling volume either, which is a good sign. So if we hear the ticks come in long again, they'll have a second run at that level and we'll hopefully get through. And if we break it, we'll be running today. So fingers crossed. Still some strength against the US. So market's just stalled a little bit. Have you tested RSI2 on index? Here come the balls again. Yes, so it is RSI2 is an index strategy. So the RSI2 strategy was developed by Larry Williams, and it was designed to be traded on the S&P 500. So the whole premise of the RSI2 strategy wrong one. Whoa. Was basically the S&P is obviously manufactured to go bull because obviously it's tracking the top 500 stocks. Stocks go up. Obviously, if stocks go down, board gets replaced. They put a board in that makes stocks go up. So S&P only goes up. Obviously, it has bear runs, but the vast majority of the time it's a bull market. So all the RSI2 strategy does is every time you get multiple down days, usually a couple of RSI2, your relative strength for the last 2 days, After you get 2 to 3 down days, you buy it, and you buy it again, and then you buy it again. And you wait for the pop. So you buy it, you buy it, you buy it, you get out. You buy it, you buy it, get out. So yeah, it is originally developed for the stock indices, but I've adapted it to FX. If it goes better than a breakout strategy, it's an investment strategy. You don't trade it on scalping strategies. Breakouts are traded on 5-minute charts or lower. The RSI2 strategy is a daily strategy. Afternoon, Mark. Did you say you can't hedge on futures? No. So futures is a FIFO. So first in, first out. So when you go long in the futures market, if you want to go short, you have to close the original contract and then open a second contract to go short. So you can't hedge in futures because you cannot be positioned long and short at the same time. You can only have a contract buy or a contract sell. Inside bar on the Dow forming. We've got another 2.5 minutes left yet, but we are, again, you can hear the market buys coming in. The Dow is running into a brick wall here. Saw a YouTube video yesterday. Someone is trading the indices with order flow. Yeah. S&P Mini is trading with only 2 to 3 lots. Depends how your order flow software is designed to show the order flow. Closing the Dow. Just going to take that. It's rejecting. So this high here, monthly, daily, weekly high, massive consolidation zone. I'm just going to get out, I think. Worried about running into a brick wall on these today. It's taking. You've heard how much spying we've had going on. Yeah, this is one of the beauties of tick strike. You can hear the order flow without seeing it. They've been buying like crazy for the last 10 minutes. That's all we've done. So there's a hell of a lot of buyers in the market, but we are not moving anywhere. That was your opening range. The market has just managed to get that far out the opening range off of all those buy orders. So it means there's a hell of a lot of absorption going on in the market. There's a lot of sellers absorbing all the buyers. Eventually, the buyers are going to give up and go, we're not getting anywhere. They're going to turn into sellers, and it collapses. So I'm just getting ready to jump ship on it. Here they come. So it's been a very difficult morning, and we're getting a lot of rejection on the Dow. So this sounds like it wants to reverse here. It doesn't look like we're going to get through that level on the Dow. We are broken out on the NASDAQ. S&P is running into a massive propulsion block. That's a daily chart. But it's your monthly high, basically, here on the S&P. Look. Can't get through. So a lot of resistance to the upside today. I'm just going to jump ship. So bank 238 there. 150 odd on the DAX this morning and break even on the NASDAQ and the FTSE. So it's a profitable day overall. Here come the sellers. Here they come. So yeah, if with order flow, why is it possible to move the index with so little volume? I don't know. I don't know who the guy is, but I don't know what software he's using. But if there's 2 contracts there and there's 2 contracts there, if these guys want to get their orders placed, they need to tick up to go and get those 2 contracts, or those guys need to tick down to get those 2 contracts. The number of contracts is irrelevant. It's the fact that the market has to move up and down to fulfill those contracts. That's why we get ticks. So I don't know. Might have been looking at an old contract. we might have just had a rollover and he's looking at the old contract, which won't have any participants in it. He might be looking at a new contract with no participants. E-mini's normally got thousands though. So, don't know. No affiliation, by the way, just gives you a lot more confluence with your position trading. I don't know what you mean, Ryan. No affiliation, by the way. Just gives you a lot more confidence with your position trading. I don't know what that means. So yeah, so that's it, done on the indices today. It may well pull back and rally, but the US dollar looks like it's powering up. Euro US will be coming down. Well, no, it's not actually. Although it is stalling. Look, so last 5 minutes we've got 2 wicks going into the upside. So we'll see. May continue, may not. So the RSI2, not RSI2, the strategy that I was trading this morning, I posted in the Telegram group, was the scalping strategy, or rather the hedging strategy, I should say. So, charts, right? Let me just switch accounts. There we go. So this strategy, I banked. So I traded on it yesterday. So you can see, just get both charts up. So yesterday, I went short there on the Euro US dollar, and I went long on the pound US dollar yesterday. Market pushed up to there, so I closed the Euro US dollar out there, and I closed the pound US dollar out there. The difference in P&L was $400. Today, I got in on the pound US dollar and the Euro US dollar. It came down, so closed out the pound US dollar and closed out the Euro US dollar. Managed to bank $800. And I've gone short the Euro US dollar there and long the pound US dollar here. Why is that in the wrong place? I went there, long there. So at the moment I've got a hedge, I've got a long on there and a short on the Euro US dollar. So this was taken prior to the news. So that's currently sitting in 382 or 380 pounds or dollars, whatever this is. It's a demo account. I don't know what I think it's dollars, but it's sitting in $380 of drawdown at the moment. So I've taken 2 trades today. So the idea being is wherever this ends today, whatever is in profit, just close it out at some point. As long as it doesn't get, I mean, if it gets into profit today, I'll just shut it. But close that out and use half of that to close that down, and then tomorrow take exactly the same positions again. Just keep long in one and short in one, and using the profit from one to close the drawdown on the other. But this is this hedging strategy that I'm testing out at the moment. The problem I think we're going to find is when you've got news on the pound and the US in the same day, you could easily get a very big move in the pound followed by a weak move in the US dollar, which makes it move twice as far. And the Euro US could also go into drawdown. And this is where I think the Achilles heel of this strategy will be. So I think you've got to be very careful if you're doing this hedging strategy with pound US and Euro US. You want to pick days where there's only US news. Today was a prime example. I managed to get a decent profit out of the pound this morning because the pound moved. And then now after the news of the US has moved. But if there's no pound news on the day and it's just US, it works really, really well. So the other option you've got is, which I was thinking about this morning, instead of trading pound US and Euro US, you could trade Aussie US and New Zealand US, or another pair that hasn't got news coming up. So we'll see how this pans out, but so far it's looking pretty good. There's an argument for shutting this trade here, waiting for that to pull back and taking the profit. But I don't really want to do that. I want to do it as I would do it in real life. Yeah, so but it's going so well so far. I know it's only 2 days, but hasn't lost yet. 100% strike rate. Not going to be today though, is it? It's going to be going to negative today. But yeah, so it's basically kind of just preemptive news trading. So we're saying we're going to move this afternoon. Don't know which way, but I don't care. As long as one moves farther than the other one, there is a profit opportunity. It's arbitrage, isn't it, really, rather than hedging? So we'll see how it goes. But making a nice little profit at the moment. So definite rejection on the NASDAQ there. Not able to get any further at the moment on that one. Dow selling off, S&P selling off. I should imagine this is coming down today. So it looks like a rejection at the monthly highs for the Dow and the S&P, or rather the monthly low of the S&P. So they'll be selling the monthly low. So the play that they're doing here is a breakout, retrace. So buyers bought it, buyers bought it, buyers bought it. They got run over. They turned sellers. We're retesting, so they're adding to the sell positions. Market structure is bearish. Whether it remains bearish or not, I don't know, but we're probably going to come and test this area, and then potentially we'll use that bullish market structure to catapult ourselves along, because we should really be going long. A weak US dollar and an anticipated weak US dollar will tend to drive money into the stock market. So as we start to see those interest rate drops coming on the US, we should start to see some decent rallies starting in the stock market. But obviously, we don't know when the US drops are coming. So we're waiting for the Fed at the moment. There was talk of an emergency interest rate drop this week, but we've heard nothing more this week so far about it. But that certainly confirms the interest rate drop, because coming down, so they've got to drop the rates, otherwise they're going to overshoot. So right, anybody got anything else they want to look at? Because there's not a lot else really to discuss today. Market is very, very flat, very rotational. We're not getting any signals on anything. We had 2 ADRs yesterday. Just about. I think it was New Zealand. Was it New Zealand CAD yesterday? 560. No, can't remember what it was. Oh, Swiss, wasn't it? Pound Swiss. There we go. So Pound Swiss and Euro Swiss. No, it wasn't. Oh, I don't know what it was, but there was a couple of ADRs yesterday, but they just tapped ADR and reversed straight away. So yeah, I mean, there's just nothing to do, is there? New Zealand CAD, we've now got further RSI extension. That's nicely extended now. So if you want to take a scalp today, that's not a bad option. 15-minute time frame, also extended. So you're up there looking for that. Can't really see because it's behind my head. So if we're going to continue this market structure along, although that's more of a contraction, but we should be looking to buy out of there somewhere. So we should be retracing for a little bit. And we are running up into a potential sell area, but you know, ideally you want to be up here, but whether or not you get it today, I do not know. Right, that's all I've got for you today. There's nothing much else to discuss. So markets are, I'm out of everything indices wise. There Dow's completely retraced back to the open pretty much. S&P, we're back inside the opening range. NASDAQ, we're just stuck. So I'm done. Done diddly done. Nice 3-bar reversal going in on the Dow. Dow. So push, pause, pull. So it does look to me like the market wants to go bear today. So watch these lows from yesterday and the previous day, which is also part of that big propulsion move. So I get the feeling we're going to sit around today waiting for CPI tomorrow. So market's not really going to want to do an awful lot of movement from a speculist point of view when we don't know what that CPI number. If that comes out negative tomorrow, that US dollar's coming down like a stone. So I think the market's probably just going to sit rotational today again, and we'll get some movement tomorrow afternoon. So I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. We'll do a full analysis of everything, which won't take long because it's unlikely anything will have moved. But New Zealand dollar interest rates overnight. So this is going to come out at 5.5 again. What the market will do, I don't know. So if you've got any New Zealand dollar or Aussie dollar exposure on, you're likely to see an ADR hit tomorrow morning when you wake up. So just be aware of that. If you've got any profit open on any positions on New Zealand dollar or on Aussie dollar, because they will both move off the news, just bank it, because you can't get it back if it goes into drawdown, but you can add it back on. So just be aware of that tomorrow morning. We've also got the press conference tomorrow morning as well. So we'll get some forward guidance from New Zealand as to whether or not they think they're going to need to increase interest rates further. Doesn't sound likely at the moment, but it's probably going to be along the lines of, if it remains sticky, we will keep another interest rate hike on the table. Waiting for those CPI numbers. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, before I come on, we've got the CPI for the pound. That is forecast to bounce, so there's potential for a bull move on the pound tomorrow. So again, beware of that. If you're going to trade the opening ranges tomorrow on the FTSE, potentially on the DAX, but mainly on the FTSE, bear in mind the FTSE may well have put an ADR move in before the open, in which case it's probably going to run out of steam at the open. So FTSE might not be very good to trade tomorrow morning because the CPI number comes out an hour before market open. So just be aware of that. And then obviously tomorrow afternoon is all about CPI. You can forget those two because everything that is being said will be said there. And that one. Why is he speaking 3 times? What's the point of that? And then going into Thursday, we've got the Aussie dollar unemployment rate. So it's a big week for the Aussie. It's a big week for everything this week. The only thing that hasn't got any news is the euro. And that's the only thing at the moment. It seems to be rallying, doesn't it? So yeah, interesting. Right, so yeah, back tomorrow, 8 o'clock. We'll have a look at the normal stuff. We'll look through all the markets, have a look at what's going on, see if we're hitting any decent support resistance areas, if anything's got extended off the back of the news on the Aussie and New Zealand. Yeah, and we'll trade the DAX open tomorrow morning and see what we go from there. All right, so anything you need, let me know. I'll be in Telegram or Discord. Otherwise, have a good day, and I will see you guys next stream.